haven't washed it out on other people. Love this thing, get thumbs up everywhere. I kind of want to patina it. Dan here, DD Speed Shop. I know you guys were worried about this Cobra. So I've had this thing for a bunch of years, and what I did today was unbolted the seat, sat in it, and I fit great. So nothing like wasting a bunch of money. So this is the seat that came out of it. And they're cool, but they're real thick at the back, which is my problem. Real thick boy. I had this kicking around. It's too wide just to sit on. These are the seats. Man, do I have seats, eh? These are the seats out of the Sebring. So they have a little, they're like a fiberglass deal, and they have a little insert. So I took the insert out, and I just jammed it right there. It's just sitting there. Then we went out to like the home improvement store, and I bought this little backrest. I don't know if we haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure I've got my issues. Oh, yeah. I fit no problem. So the only thing I have to adjust now, which we'll do after, the gas pedal, it's on like a adjustment, and it's just kind of too far up, so I can take it apart, lower it, so the gas will be further away. I do want to adjust this shifter. It's not bad now that I'm sitting far back, but I feel like I want it bent forward because that's what Cobras are. I sit nice and low now. Things like, I don't feel like such a, I feel like the cartoon beforehand. So what we're gonna do, that bar is super handy. Still can't drive it with boots on, or yeah, my boots on. I'll get in there, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about in a little bit here, but I'm just gonna paint this black, some fabric paint, and I think I'm just gonna like hot glue it all in and then be fine. Safe. And then it still has lap belts, so we're fine there. I'm gonna leave Danny's seat alone because you got lots of room over there, right? You're fine, tiny girl. So it should be golden. So let's get to painting this. This is just a, like a seat bottom, like an aftermarket deal for whatever, some sort of chair. We'll take the straps off, clean it all out. Problem solved. Probably should have done this like 6 years ago. But I didn't have the Healy 6 years ago, so I had to buy a $3,000 kit card just to borrow a seat bottom. All right, well, I'm excited we're gonna keep this thing now. So we'll do that, adjust the pedals, mess around, you know, maybe go through the thing, give it a once over, and then go beat the hell of it. Oh, I also want to change front tires. The guy that had this thing, these are the tires on it that when I got it, they're still on it. But you put the biggest tire you could on it, which is great for handling and all that, but they stick out. So I gotta do a little math and figure out the same height, because I don't mind the height of them, but narrower, just so they tuck in a little bit. I hate how they stick out. Same with the backs. These are actually a size I don't think they make anymore. They're 275/50s. That's a weird size, because I don't like how they jettison out too much. I'd like them in just a little bit so they're in line with the body, and the body has a goofy line to it and stuff. So it's all about aesthetics, right? All right, I'm rambling. Let's hot glue and paint the seats of this rare $1 million car. So, a little bit of vacuuming. It's actually kind of a sad time. There's a lot of old Husky hair in here. I used to have a Husky, and me and Blue is his name. We go cruising everywhere in this thing. I'd click onto the roll bars before Danny and everything. We'd go cruising for chicks. Anyways, there's Husky hair in here, cleaning up. It's kind of sad times. What are you gonna do? So we just got the hot glue gun out. So I'm just kind of hot gluing everything in, so it'll be fine. And here's the pedal situation, which, how do I do this? So, unfortunately, there's this box right here, which I think I can remove. It's got like a, I'll start taking it apart a little bit. It's got like a wheel on the bottom to like let fresh air in, which is completely useless. So I can ditch that. Unfortunately, the pedals are aluminum, because if they were steel, I would just heat it up, move the clutch pedal over, and I'd be just fine. And as you can see on this gas pedal, right there, if you take it all apart, I believe you can separate it. It's like splined. We move it down because that's all the way to the floor. And we still got lots of room to go. So I can put the pedal down just, you know, a couple of clicks is probably a couple inches, which moves just that much further away. Get it in line with the brake pedal, and I'd be doing okay. That's where we're at. It's coming along. It looks pretty fancy. It kind of reminds me of like World War II airplanes. That's all they did. Tossed in some like leather miscellaneous stuff and you're golden. So yeah, if this does work, I'll do some measuring. I might buy like I was looking like an aluminum low back Kirky, which you can then put like a cover up there, like $550, which is kind of real money. So we'll put this in for now. If I enjoy driving it, we'll spend the money and buy a real seat. But at this point, I think we're into this for like $26. So that's the right amount to test if you want to keep a car or not. So I got the seat in. She's a little crooked. Danny was just talking while I started working. But you know, DD chopped it in there, so it's fine. We hot glued it and I just put a little paint on there, so the ticket. And then that's the shifter. It's still pretty hot from where I welded it, but now it's kind of all the way forward. So I just sliced it, welded it back together, packed it full of grease. We'll let that cool off, put the shift boot back on. And then I had a stupid, well, it's got a line lock on it, but I don't know. We'll hook that back up or not. It seems a little ridiculous. I had a stock shifter somewhere, but I don't know where it is. The ball. 1 to 5 R. So we'll let that cool off. Then we'll climb under there and start ripping out that HVAC stuff and adjusting the throttle pedal. And then we'll go cruising for chicks. Well, the wheels have sort of come off of this deal. So we got the gas pedal off. I was like, okay, we'll take it apart and adjust it. It has been welded. So somebody previous has DD speed chopped the hell out of it. So all we can really do, I mean, we could cut and bend and stuff, but I don't know if I want to do that. It's not terrible, so we'll use it for now. Now if we go over here, hold the carpet down, take it, we'll just take this off. This is friggin' molded into the fiberglass on the one side, riveted the other bit, so I would like to cut that out. So I think I might just get in there with the zip disc and start hacking and butchering it, and then I'll just knock it all around with a hammer and put the carpet back on it, because that's the DD speed chop way. I don't really feel like we need the venting. Gas pedal's a bummer. Think about that. The guy obviously marked it at one point. He was happy with it. What else I could do? Oh, maybe I could. No, there's nothing I can do. I'll think about it. Under the hood here, I got a little bit dialed together, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I've always hated the throttle pedal. It's kind of been stiff, and I thought maybe it was just, you know, kind of loops around, but it's really not that bad of a loop. I might just take it off and like hold it up high and spray a bunch of oil in it just to see. I mean, it's got a couple of bends, but I mean, what are you gonna do? The gas pedal is here and the motor is there, so it has to do a bit of a goofy one. I thought about getting a cable and running it around this way, and then, I mean, instead of pulling back, we could pull forward or something like that on it, maybe, from like the kick down setup. I don't know if that would make a difference or not. Anyway, oh yeah, I did this last time I drove it. It had a glass fuel filter deal, which are terrible and started to leak. So I just ixnayed that. I should probably put an inline filter in. I think I might have one somewhere. I should do that. This thing had a bunch of trick deal. Like the guy made these kind of cool radiator hoses, all aluminum and stuff. Like it's real fancy stuff. One more thing I hate, the electric fan, not for any reason other than it's boring. Like a real Cobra, they have those ones. And I might just put it on. It's like they got like two little like desk fans pointing wherever backwards. I just think that looks cool. So I think while we're at it, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead, I might need a Leatherman, which I don't have on me. I'm gonna take the carburetor off and we'll just kind of clean it out. You know, it's been sitting for a while. We'll do that. We'll take the linkage off. We'll take care of that. I said this distributor, it had a bit of a miss, but who knows? That's actually not that bad. A lot of times it gets, well, kind of gets a little green and stuff in there. So I'll hit that with some emery cloth. Oh, like see like that. Is that focusing? It just traps moisture and stuff in there. So I think it's like an MSD deal. Not really too sure. But I'll get in there, clean up with a emery cloth. But you know what, for right now, we'll take the carburetor off and we'll pull the float bowls off. We just did, I cleaned the lawnmower out, just full of junk. New gas, it's not great. Doesn't last very long. This probably got 2-year-old gas. So I put some seafoam in it. We'll go put some fresh 91 in. And then clean the carburetor out, blow it out, go from there. I'm excited to drive this thing. I gotta say, now that I actually kind of fit it, we got a DD speed chop seat, we're golden. Even Danny was judging me on it, but whatever. If I like it and I drive it, we'll figure something out. We'll take, TCS must be able to do something for me and make something kind of fancy that we can hot glue the back. But yeah, look at that shifter now. All weird forward. Cobras are so dumb, but if you don't do it, I don't know. Buy a Cobra. So we took these carburetor apart, and it's like mint inside. Everything works. All the squirters are all good. I mean, really, it's like an older job, obviously, a 20-year-old carburetor, but I thought for sure I'd take this apart and have all sorts of just junk and stuff in it. I do run that stabilizer, like stable, in the fuel. I have put that in when I put it away a while ago, but like it's like brand new in there. The lawnmower didn't make it a year. The Cobra made it 2 years just sitting there, so not bad. The gas smells a little bit old, but really, at this point, I'll blow carb cleaner through everything just because we're at this point. Why would you not? Clean it all up, put it back together, clean the distributor, and I think we're driving. I can't believe how much I put off this car because of like 2 days worth of work in the grand scheme of things. Sat for 2 years because it needed 2 days. But gotta do that. We gotta adjust the choke because it was out of adjustment, so it was kind of closing itself. But there's a little kind of pin in here which I think just needs a little bit of lubrication, like a spring-loaded deal to hold it open, or yeah, the choke open. Yes, I know what I'm saying there. So, can of brake clean later, and we'll put this thing back together. It doesn't even look like it's been backfired too many times. This thing always did run good, I will say. Carburetor's back on. Got all cleaned up. We oiled up the cable, cleaned up the distributor and all that whatnot. Pretty simple stuff. I put in a fuel filter. I topped the coolant up. I put a additive in it. I put in a little bit of zinc. This thing, the oil level was fine, I will say. And oil looks good. It's a couple years old. I don't remember what cam or anything is in this motor. I do remember I put in a variable speed kind of rev limiter deal because it had like a 7,000 RPM chip in it when I got it. I was like, that seems high. Maybe it's a roller motor? I couldn't tell you. I'll have to go look at what the deal is with it, but we'll see if it'll run now. Oh, one more thing. This thing was endlessly having choke issues, and the problem is, so the choke has a little kind of ball it clicks into, and it locks itself into place. This cable was just bending. It didn't have enough to push past that ball, so the choke would always be kind of like that, which isn't the end of the world, except for when you're driving, it would slowly but surely work itself more and more closed. So that's not great. But let's see if this thing will start. We'll let it get the temperature and make sure everything is happy. What a hot rod. Oil pressure and all that. So I'm gonna let it run. This thing is loud. We're gonna let it run, get the temperature. We'll set the carb real quick. Start driving it. What else is there to do, right? So, it's a few days later. I've been driving the wheels off this thing. We still gotta do some maintenance on it. I haven't done an oil change yet. Put through our tank of fuel in it. But I fit it pretty good. So I think it's a keeper. I put a new set of tires on it. The tires that are on it were terrible, they were old. And I didn't like about it, I think I described before, they were really wide on the front. There were two 35/60s on the front and two 75 or two 95/50s on the back. So I put a smaller set of tires on, which I know a lot of people aren't going to be all about, but those other tires were old and junk. These ones now, the other ones were so wide and the car was so narrow, they would kind of hug the crown and it drove terribly. This drives so much nicer, I love it, and the wheels now suit the front a little bit better. I still want it a little bit lower, but I'm going to pick roads, am I right? So yeah, the only problem is I can't drive it with boots on, so I gotta drive it barefoot or shoeless. That's a little lame. I haven't washed it out on other people. Love this thing, get thumbs up everywhere. I kind of want to patina it. What do you think? The only nice car we have I should ruin. I had this thing sitting outside for a while. Well, yeah, it's simple. It runs, it drives. Danny wants to get some hair product. So,
evidence that you've been using it.
oh yeah, a little candy, no big deal. So this is the only part that's kind of stupid. You gotta take your boots off, and then every time you go in somewhere, you gotta put your boots back on. Oh, the clutch or the choke I never got dialed. I gotta get a new cable on it, so it doesn't really like the cold starting, but it starts. There's stuff behind you. Hair dye acquired. So, I mean, I just fit in this thing. Like, look at this. It's like not bad at all to drive. Other than boots would be nice. So I can always change pedals down the road, and I can still extend the pedal box, which I thought I was going to have to do, but I think it's great. So we'll drive home. Unfortunately, it is a little of rush hour. So.
And it's starting to rain. I felt some drops.
You know what the Cobra likes is a little rain. So this thing is friggin' badass. Everybody needs a Cobra. Can we get out this way?
Yeah. You have to go over that. There's lots of speed bumps.
What? In a part of town I'm not used to. Oh. She's a little rough. I think I should have blazed past this family going for a nice little weekend with the tires on fire.
Probably not. When you're in the Cobra, they let you into traffic?
You always let you in. You know what I always get in this thing? So people are always like, hey, is it real? Which, I mean, it's a real car. But then they always ask what motor's in it. I'm always like, oh, small block. They go, oh, it's not the, like, 429 or 427 or whatever. I'm like, no. And I think that no one understands, like, this little motor will absolutely kill you. Like, 375 horses, something that weighs 2,000 pounds, you don't need any more power. Like, I would highly recommend not having a big block in a Cobra. Because when I first got it, I'm like, oh yeah, we'll have to count a big motor in this thing and do all that bullshit. But I tell you, little small block runs good, handles good. There's nothing else you really need. Man, who would have a loud vehicle like that on the road, eh? The only downside is you bake like fried bacon in this thing when you're stuck in traffic. It is not a rush hour vehicle. But I think you know there's traffic here right away or whatever. And so, and damage you're saying, so I changed those tires. It rides so much nicer. Like, my God, is it nice to drive this thing now? Fit it, not fighting all over the road and stuff. All sorts of little things I should have done like 8 years ago, but who knows? It needed a weekend to work 8 years ago, or 5 years ago, whenever I stopped driving it. But yeah, Patina, what do you think? Should we beat it all up?
This is like the only car that I don't want patina.
What?
I like that this car, it is what it is.
I don't wash it.
I know, that's fine.
It's still all ratty and stuff.
That's what I mean. I feel like that, like this car, how it is, it's good.
We don't want the DD Speed Shop touch on it?
I don't think it needs it.
It always needs it.
I know, what do they think?
Who?
The people.
Oh, the people. Well, you can't ask the people. Because they'll tell me, no, leave it as is.
Or they'll tell you yes.
Paint it blue and put hell brands on it.
I have to, oh man, I feel like I've got to make enemies here. I don't like the blue Cobras. I think the blue Cobras are ugly.
I wanted a blue Cobra for a long time. This one being red, it didn't really do it for me. I wasn't a big fan of red.
I think if you didn't add the stripes, it wouldn't be as good.
It was awful. When I got it, the guy had mounted the windshield straight up and down. I guess he was a taller guy, or I don't know what the hell it was. But that was terrible.
Not a lot of wind resistance there.
Yeah, but it looked stupid, so I angled it back. And then Yeah, the stripes. As rinky-dink as they are that I did myself, they seem to work and all that. Unfortunately, when you're driving this thing, it's pretty obvious who's making all the noise and causing all the issues. Like, it's not like, you know, like a tri-fiber, like, oh, it wasn't me, you're just kind of cruising or whatever. This thing is like, sir, there's only one reason to have a car like this, and it's to absolutely beat the tar out of it. Or go to the golf course, I guess.
Where were your golf clubs fit?
Where you are. The trunk has a trunk. School's out, so it's really no big deal, right? But there's a lot of people around here. Mom's watching, it's not us in the car. CGI. The long hair too.
There's always lots of cops on this upcoming street. Just so
No,
you're
they're right
aware.
here usually, aren't they? They're usually here catching speeders. We're not speeding, we're bagging. Have a Cobra, you're not going to beat the tar out of it though. I see it. this car is so dumb. The best part was Murr is the one that convinced me to buy it. I mean, buy the car, not my life insurance, all on the same day. I put a limiter in this thing because when you're driving it, it was always a nightmare. So I just set it at like 6,000 RPM, and then it just, man, does it bang off the limiter all the time. That's just like kind of being easy on it because curbs scare me in it. Anyway, there you go, runs and drives. If you guys want to see this thing on the channel more, feel free to let me know in the comments. When I had it out before, the sports car club wanted me to take it to the, wherever the hell they drive. And I feel like I just loop it all the time. And then there's the British car meet we've gone to a couple times in it. It's actually coming up. It's next weekend or the weekend after.
So you're gonna fight with the lot attendants again?
And they wouldn't let us in, or they gave us attitude when we tried to take it before. They're like, what is this thing? I was like, how do you not know what a Cobra is? But yeah, they didn't want us to go into the British car thing.
And I quote, "Do you want me to pull the VIN?" he says to the poor old man, just letting people in. But the old man was very like stickler. He was like, "It's not a British car."
He doesn't understand what cool is. It had way too many cylinders. But buy a kit car if you find one cheap. But yeah, and put a better transmission in. These T5s, they don't last. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video. Well, we should play the game where it's how many windows can we get put up at red lights. Because every time you pull up at a red light, the Karens are windows up every time. Well, piñata.